Hello and welcome to the Men's Lifeline Academy. We bring on scholarly men who are transforming the lives of other men and people they interact. And today's going to be a special episode. Today's number 60. We've done 60 episodes and I can't wait because we got Dr. Jordan Goldstein back in the house today.
What's going
So,
on, everybody?
now, for those who don't know, Jordan is the travel runner, he's the professor, and he's going to take sports to another level by adopting the philosophies that they've come from you can improve your life since he's a life fitness coach. And here's the best thing yet about Jordan, he's as real as can be. If you don't want to see it, just follow him on X and you'll see his cold feet on the ground connecting. And that's probably because that's probably from his Canadian roots that he's now in the US, so he's not too far from where I'm at.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me back on the pod. This is great. Thanks so much, Zach.
Yeah, so what's been going on, Jordan? I know a lot has happened with you over the last year or so.
Yeah, big life changes. As you mentioned, I'm from Canada originally. My family, which is myself, my wife, and my two kids, got a 7.5-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old little man. We were living up in rural Ontario, about an hour northwest of the city of Toronto. Totally different universe, though. Totally different universe. We were normal people. We had a nice little town, nice little village. Not like some of the craziness you see on socials or the news about Canada. But I guess it's like that with any place. It's like only the most sensational and absurd get promoted, and just like 95% of normal life doesn't ever get talked about. But you know, we moved from Canada to the North Shore suburbs of Chicago in January. So as I say, from one side of the lakes to the other, and you are a Great Laker as well. You're kind of right in the middle of both of those places. So it's been a year of, it's actually kind of been more like 18 months to almost like 2 years now of trying to find stability, trying to find some continuity, trying to find a sense of foundation, as my family has, figured out that we were going to be moving, and that was its own challenge of when are we moving, how are we going to situate the kids, if we're moving in the middle of their school year, where are they going to be going to school, how long are we going for, if we are going, and then once you actually sort of get all those details figured out, which took about a year or so, then it's like you actually do the move, and then you have to find yourself in a new environment and in a new place with new people, and we don't have like supports or really anybody. It's not like we're moving and we know a lot of people or our family is here. We just sort of came on our own. So it's been a really wonderful journey and a wonderful challenge for our family, and everybody has grown a lot through it, and we're kind of hitting our stride in a sense, but it's kind of tricky because we're only here temporarily, and our plans to move back to Canada in
Oh, okay.
2027. So it's like once you kind of get comfortable, you got to start figuring out, okay, well, how do we get out of here? So it's challenging because you want to put down roots and you want to provide a sense of stability for your kids, in terms of routine and structure and relationships. But the thing that I've focused a lot on is providing stability and continuity through our values and through like maintaining a high standard of how we all want to conduct ourselves and how we want our lives to be led. Down from the little man all the way up to me. And that's really what I've been up to, and how to harmonize and how to juggle my own coaching, my own business, my own training, my own competing, with taking up more, we'll say, domestic duties, because we're not here for my work, we're here for my wife's work.
Okay.
That's what brought us over here. So we're on a work visa that she got through her work. This is kind of like her adventure. She's always wanted to travel the world as part of her job, and now she's in the global space of her company, so she's going all over the place and making a really strong impact, and setting herself up really nicely to land back in Canada in a role in which she wants, and she strives hard to achieve in her professional work. And so that means I've been striving really hard to match that achievement in the home. So I'm the guy responsible for the kids in the morning and school drop-offs and pickups and lunches and doctor's appointments and days off. And when she's away for a week, for travel. It's just the three of us, and to me, that's been a really rewarding element of this whole move. Is me having to up my game on the domestic side, while still maintaining a strong sense of masculine leadership in the home, and trying to juggle the things that I want to achieve for myself.
No, I gotta say, I've always been very impressed with you, pretty much since day one of really getting to know you, really being able to follow you, is seeing you capture those moments, like how much of an active father you really are. And if anyone who knows you, who follows you, and if you don't, this is a good time to go do that. Because you take pictures of teaching your kids French. You take time instilling the importance of reading, and even like yourself said, no days off with reading. We're not going to take a day off. We're going to read daily. We're going to learn from something. And even seeing your oldest child, even teaching your youngest child how to read French, I believe, too.
Yeah. So like a clarification on the French thing. Back in Ontario, they were in a French immersion public school. So in
Oh,
Canada, French education is part of the public education stream. So we didn't have to pay anything extra. They just go in, and the teachers talk in French from kindergarten.
what's the
And it's a
benefit of knowing
good,
two languages?
yeah, it's a great benefit. Like it forces the kids to learn in a new way, which I appreciate. Getting that language proficiency in two languages early on is really good for learning and developing like reading and learning habits later on in life. Um, it also, like, because you have to teach the kid a brand new language, you can't start indoctrinating the kindergartners with a bunch of untestable social theories, which will say saturate a lot of public education these days, in which I don't want my kids anywhere near. um I come from the university. I know where this stuff comes from. I see the people. I know the people who created
Well,
them,
you're
and
you're a big advocate for freedom of speech and everything else.
big time. So we don't necessarily go into that avenue, but one of the issues of moving to Chicago for 2 years and then going back to Canada is like, well, how the heck are we going to get our kids French language education? So it's we're lucky that there's a very nice school that sucks all of our money away, but what's money for? Like, what's money for? Nice things in my home, or providing opportunities for for
Whoa,
for the family, right? Like,
yeah.
to me, to me, my like one of the big things that I've incorporated since I found myself in the self development space, first entering into men's groups on my own, like the one you lead, and I lead my own men's group, but I'm also in a different one, and I've been in a few, and I have my own coach and everything. Um, but one of the practices that we really like in these groups is like using a word to define and orient your year in action, right? And I'm Jewish, so our new year starts in the fall,
Hmm.
and I'm very tuned into seasonal living, as you mentioned, like the cold feet on the ground. I really like to tap into nature to sort of provide me a sense of how I should be pacing my life. So the Jewish New Year comes at the fall time, which is the harvest. And to me, this is a very great time to be like reflecting on the past year, but also projecting out to the next year. So I've already sort of selected my word for 2025, 2026, and it is opportunity. Like, it
Oh,
is
nice.
opportunity.
Is
And
there like a
so,
Hebrew word for like opportunity? Because I know sometimes with different languages, it has like a little bit of a deeper meaning. Or no, okay,
no, not in this sense. Not in this sense. It's more just like it related to that sense of stability and moving. It's like, well, we were on uneven ground as a family for 18 months. We're about to move into a period of the same uneven ground where we're going to be moving and going into a new community and having to figure out where we're going to live, and selling our home back in Canada, and like we're just renting here in the States, because we're not going to go back and live in the same place. So we're going to have to do this all again, which means like I kind of have a little bit of a 12-month window right here where we've got stability and we're in America, and it's like opportunity is the thing that I want to strike on the most. And one of the things that held me up about being enthusiastic about coming to Chicago, because as I mentioned, we were considering a whole bunch of different options in terms of what we were going to do, where we were going to move, what position my wife wanted to take. Um, Chicago was my last choice because I thought it provided the worst opportunity for my kids.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Like, very good opportunity for me professionally, right? Because, I coach on a team that's based in the States. A lot of my clients are in the States. There was great opportunity for me to try to kick up a community in person here in Chicago. So I had good opportunity. My wife had good opportunity, but I'm like, we're just going to be moving to the suburbs of a giant city on one of the Great Lakes. I'm like, we just drive 30 minutes south and we can do that in Toronto and all the suburbs that we don't want to live in. So the idea of like using money to expand the opportunity of my kids by giving them the best educational environment that we can possibly give them is such a no-brainer. And it was one of the things that made me enthusiastic about coming here with them. It's like, oh, they're going to get this very cool experience. They're going to get to go to a very small little private school with teachers handpicked from France to come and deliver them like incredible French language education. They wear the uniforms. Like they go to this fairy tale village up here in the North Shore. They're all little fairy tale villages. It's a wild place up here. They go into this historic heritage building to go to school and these beautiful grounds. And they go down the main street in their Halloween costumes and they trick or treat into all of like the art galleries and the hair salons, the coffee shops and the clothing boutiques, and this is just a wonderful experience that they're getting that, we're very happy to provide them. So like, when you just like peeked up about opportunity, it's like, yeah, opportunity is always around us. And whatever you think you're closed off from, it's likely because you're seeing like determinism. You're seeing like this can only happen in one way, as opposed to opening up for the opportunity for more options or more variables to come into play that you can turn into something that's meaningful.
It's beautiful, man. I mean, just having that outlook about what to do, especially when you have your mindset about it. Like, Chicago isn't your first pick. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So how did you become more like open to the idea of going to Chicago then? Just with all the
like
goals and everything, or with your wife's work?
It was a little bit of an internal realization. And it's a very, I would say it's a good illustration of how mindset can shift something when the material circumstances are not different at all. My journey to become a coach online has not been an easy one. And my wife, God bless her heart, she has supported me and basically every decision that I've made. The first being to stop being a university professor at all costs. This was all happening. I was sort of losing my academic career at the same time. All the pandemic craziness was going on up in Canada. She supported me. Even if maybe she disagreed, she supported me when I decided not to take the COVID shot. And that came with a tremendous amount of social consequences because we had vaccine passes. We had vaccine passes in Ontario. I had family members saying they wouldn't see me. And so I kind of made some decisions that put us into some difficult spots, both like socially, but then also professionally, because, I was kind of 1 foot out of the university anyways. And that whole episode just like made me want to run away and never turn back. And I haven't since. So, she was able to put a tremendous amount of faith and belief into me. And she now has this opportunity, right, to go and do something that's important and meaningful for her. And I just this is funny because this all kind of went down on a President's Club trip because she's just a superstar in her company. So she was in sales and her sales team just dominated. She dominated. So we got to go on the big President's Club trip to a 7-star resort in Barbados.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is the place where Rihanna lives. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. So it was nice. But like, I just remember because the whole time she's talking about with people about, oh, you're leaving the Canadian, because this is an only Canadian trip, right? So she's talking with everybody from Canada, like, oh, you're leaving, you're taking this job, and they're all planning this succession stuff. And I'm just sitting in the back, like, I don't want to go. Like, shoot, I was kind of cool to go to England or go to Switzerland, but I don't really want to go to Chicago. Like, I don't want to live in the suburbs. I don't want to go to a big city. Like, I'm not even super interested in going to America. Realistically, like, I love America, but it's not like I didn't consider it a big adventure, which is one of the reasons why we signed up for international relocation. I also just want to get the heck out of Canada. But I just sort of took a big look inside of myself, and it was very funny because this is actually the exact moment where on travel training, which is I'm the travel prof, I'm assistant coach on Ryan Dreyer's team. And we were just debriefing our big Zion 100 expedition where we took 10 athletes and we tried to conquer the Zion 100-mile ultra all together as one unit, starting together, moving through the course together, and then finishing together, which didn't happen. But we were debriefing, and we were coming up with some themes, like some big themes that had come out of it. And I just I was talking with Ryan, and we were talking about these themes that had come up, and he pointed at me and was like, dude, this is you. Like, this is you in the move. Everything is about this, because you're like, you're anxious, you're hesitant, you're not sure. And I forget exactly what the themes were that we were talking about. But and just to go back to opportunity, one of the themes that came out of that expedition for our team was jumping on opportunity creates bigger and more opportunity. And it was also like, just go and figure it out. And so it's like, I'm thinking about those two things, and then I realized, like, man, I think I might be using the kids as a crutch for my own insecurity about not wanting to change our life. Because the reason I kept telling everybody I wasn't going to go to Chicago was like, I don't want the kid. That's like, this is the worst deal. This is the rawest deal for the kids. And I don't want to put the kids in a bad situation. And then I just like, no, I don't think that's it. I think what's happening is that you're worried. You're worried about moving, and you're using this as a crutch. You're using this as an excuse. And then I had this like kind of wild realization that was like, oh man, you know what this actually is? You know what this actually is? You asked your wife to do all of these things to support you, and you ain't willing to do the same for her. And it was just like this whole bro. It was not a nice realization about myself. I was like, shoot, I just asked her to do all these sacrifices, and now she's going after the thing she really wants, and I'm a little insecure about it, and I have the power. I have the power to torpedo the whole thing. And it's just like, was just kind of moping around. And we had this talk on the day that we were leaving, and she's like, I know that you're kind of hesitant about the Chicago move, and we're kind of, the wheels are in motion. It's kind of like, we're going to be doing this thing. This was May of 2024. And I just like turned to her and I was like, we have to go, even if I don't want to. Like, no, we just have to. Like, we have to go. It doesn't matter what I'm feeling. I need to get over that, and I need to just support you and do whatever I need to make sure that you feel as if we're all in this together for you, because you believed in me and you sacrificed a lot on my behalf. So that was also the main driving force behind my decision to park a little bit of my business and professional aspirations and totally focus on the kids, because I know for sure if my wife's got to be worrying about who's picking up the kids every day, she's not going to be able to be the best that she can at work. And then why are we going? Why are we even coming here? Like, what's the point? So then my aim became, I need to take away as much of the domestic confusion and as much of the domestic anxiety that is on her as possible, so that she can maximize the opportunity she has in these 2 or 3 years that we're going to be in the States to get what she wants out of this. And then, of course, lo and behold, like, all the opportunities for the kids emerge through just that faith and action. They get to go to this school. We're living in the place that may have the greatest like amenities for kids anywhere. Like, it's It's crazy. Just all of the kids' activities and the things that they can do that are just around us in the community. It's overwhelming sometimes. Like some of the things we it's and it's great. Um, you know, and other things happened. Like we were able to join a synagogue for the first time as a family. Just
Oh, really?
because
For the first time as
when
a
you live,
join a synagogue?
yeah, yeah, because we live in a village with 1,000 people, right? And there's one other Jewish family, and they're half Jewish, so it's not like there's a synagogue that you can go to. You got to drive about an hour or so to get to any of these big synagogues in any
Oh,
of
I
their
see.
cities, and that's
So
like
there's not even enough,
not.
like, because don't you need like 7 people at least for to hold services or something like that?
There's lots of prayers in Judaism which are communal prayers, which you are not allowed to say by yourself, and which you're commanded to say. So forced into a congregation with each other. We call it. It's called a minyan, and it's 10. It's got to be 10.
10? Okay. Thanks for the
And
correction.
to have a synagogue, you need a Torah. You need an ark, and those things aren't cheap, right? Like those are not cheap. So you need a building, you need an ark, you need a Torah, you need a minyan, you need a bunch of things. So being able to join a synagogue and put my daughter in Hebrew school for the first time, like that's a big win. There's so many great things that have come out of it for the kids that if I had just acted on my own insecurity, like I would have blocked everybody out. I would have blocked out all of the potential. I would have blocked out all the opportunity. I would have blocked out all the challenge and the growth, that we've been experiencing as a family, because I had some excuse in my mind that I thought other people would buy that I could just like pass off and be like, oh, it's really like I just don't want to move. Like I'm scared of leaving. I'm scared of leaving the only home like I've ever known, effectively,
Right.
and what's going to happen. And that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable position for this sort of, even if it's like my wife and I are very co-equal in the way we divvy up responsibilities, and it's not like there's man's roles, women's roles, or anything like that. But masculine leadership is like that decisive, when a decision has to be made, like you make it, you know the next right step. You don't really need to know all the other ones, but it's like when there's hesitation, you provide the direction. So my wife was giving me this opportunity to lead the family in one direction or the other, and I couldn't allow that direction to be made out of fear. I had to make the decision based out of love and trust and faith,
Oh.
which is what I did. And we're doing really. There's no regrets about coming to Chicago. Maybe a
No.
little trepidation moving back to Canada, but like.
Well, that's in 2 years, and we'll see what happens in 2 years.
Who knows, right? Who knows?
Who knows? And that's kind of cool how you went from like an emotion kind of consuming you to more that action, and that's how love has always been defined, as this both emotion and action mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like that's what's very cool about that is exactly what my coaching philosophy and my athletic philosophy are predicated upon, is like the heart is the source, the heart is the engine. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. So if we're struggling in any way, shape, or form, why would we use anything other than love? Right? Why would I use a lesser force, and one that's not as good, right? Because not only is love the strongest force, it's like the purest force. It's the most good. Like like untethered love. It may as well be a synonym for goodness. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like one and the same.
Well, especially when you're using it to not just to kind of go beyond yourself and get out of your own way.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what love ultimately is. Love is putting yourself below, right? It's selflessness. Like when we think about love, it is the pouring out of the heart, of the truth that's in the heart. And oftentimes that truth is not easy. It's not comfortable. Anybody who understands love knows it's not an easy or soft thing. It's like, are you kidding? It's the hardest thing. Like you love your wife and you go through arguments and battles and conflicts and strife, and you disagree and you get frustrated, right? But you don't quit. You don't quit the relationship.
So you're saying it's not the fairy tale wedding, right? Like in all the Disney thing that they all promised.
In some ways, it is, because love conquers
Yes, no,
all.
I'm just saying.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you're getting at. No, of course not. But love is the thing love is the glue that binds together all those things that without love, like you give up, you quit, right? Like, and this is why it's so important like when I'm out live coaching an athlete in an endurance race, like we're on mile 45 or whatever of a 50 miler in the desert and you're in the dark, you wanted to quit 4 hours ago and you don't have a choice but to go forward. It's like, well, what are we going to activate? What are we going to activate as coaches to keep you moving forward? Is it going to be like your muscles? Is it going to be like the rational mind? No, it's your heart. It's your spirit. It's your willpower. Like it's the things you value most. It's the things that matter the most, that mean the most to you. So the heart, like, is really this important locus of almost all the things that I do, whether that's like my domestic life or my professional life. Like everything gets filtered in through, and this is very important too, not just like the heart, but the open heart. Like I do a lot of this, right? It's like, because you can close off your heart, right? You can harden your heart. You can make it impervious to love. You can make it impervious to the difficulties that come along with strong emotions, right? But then you are closing off opportunity to rise above and to effectively transcend what limitations, whether they're physical, whether they're mental, whether they're spiritual limitations, to bring that selflessness to the table, which is ultimately your highest calling, is not to gain things for yourself and to keep them and hold them, but it's to like get things to give away and to spread goodness and truth in the world. You know, if you want to do this life correctly and meaningfully, it's not about making things worse. It's about making things better.
Amen to that, man. And I think
Yes,
that's
sir.
something that actually, I think that's a conversation I never really had with someone. In almost 60 episodes, we probably talked about the themes of it, but I really like how you brought the heart at the center of it. And not just the heart, adding to it of having, do you want to have a closed, hardened heart? Or do you want to have, I love that example, that nice openness to different possibilities, opportunities, or things that could happen where you kind of reduce that stubbornness that we all have.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
willfulness,
And
like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to sit here in my nice, cozy little place, my nice, cozy little life, and then going, taking something to like kind of shatter that and be like, wait a second. My wife has supported me like nonstop. Does she agree with everything I do? No. If she did, I would have questions.
no, the open heart is terrifying. It's so terrifying, right? Like, because what are you doing? You're exposing yourself to hurt. You're exposing yourself to vulnerability when you open up your heart. Like when I go out and I say to some, like a very good example of this is like romantic love, right? So let's say you're going steady with somebody, right? And you're like, hey, man, I love this person. Like I'm going to go out on the limb and I'm going to say it. Like this is very scary because you're like, what if they don't say it back? There's a whole Seinfeld episode about this, but it's like, what if they don't say it back? This is a big deal. Like when you open up that heart, you're risking almost everything. If the response back is gonna hurt you, because now it's like I've let the armor down, I've let the shield down. I'm not bracing for the hit. I'm just kind of out here, and then the hit comes, and you get cream, right? Like there's a lot of sports analogies for all of these things.
Well, I'd hope there would
So
be sports
really,
analogies, or else, like, what are you doing?
yeah,
How can you call
yeah,
yourself a
yeah.
sports professor?
I mean, do you want to? I can do hockey. We can do any sport where you're getting hit, right? Like in any sport where you're getting hit, if you're not prepared
Check
for the
your
hit,
life.
you're about to get sent. You're about to get sent into the stratosphere if you're not ready, and the other guy is coming at you, and he's got you in the crosshairs. But if you prepare for the hit, if you close yourself, then you can actually brace for the impact. That's why the open heart is so powerful, because it's this ultimate vulnerability. It's this ultimate exposure. And, this is why athletics is such an important role in all of this, because athletics are the truth. Athletics are it's a version of truth that it's impossible for me to hide from. And, one of the other elements, that I just truly believe is that the truth is the scariest thing in the world. Nobody wants the truth. Like no one wants the truth. Nobody wants the truth. The brain actively distorts truth. That's what it does. This is not a truth-seeing thing up here. This is a distortion machine. It's a distortion machine. It creates shortcuts for me so that I can move through the world with some ease and comfort and predictability in a chaotic, I'm not in control environment. So the brain is this like filtering mechanism that distorts reality and creates easy shortcuts for us to take, right? And when the truth comes, like when somebody is of a firm belief and then they're shown to be wrong, are they like, do you thank the person? Oh, thank you so much for telling me that I was wrong and proving no. Like the tendency is for them to double down on the erroneous beliefs because the truth is so shattering and it's so hard to come to terms with that we were just like, no, I don't want the truth. And nobody wants the truth about themselves. That's the other thing.
Cool.
Nobody wants the truth.
I
Nobody
think you
wants
just
the
open a
truth,
whole can of worms. I mean, you're just
dude.
opening up basically the
And you
playbook.
would know this. You would know this in your line of work. Like when you talk to
Absolutely.
people about, here's the truth of what you're actually saying. They're not, hey Zach, thank you for alerting me to the truth. This is great. Now I can go about it and improve myself. They're like, no, you're wrong. I'm not like that. Not at all. Okay. So athletics are so valuable here. They're so valuable because now I have some truth about myself that even if it's a little scary, I can kind of bear to see numbers. I can look at some numbers about myself. Like
Mhm.
maybe I don't want to see the number on the scale if my diet's not great and I've been working out, but okay, I can go to the gym, I can lift something. I did it, you can get the app and say I lifted whatever cows today in my workout, or I ran, I covered 4 miles. It was slow, but at least I did it. Now I'm gaining some truthful knowledge about myself, and you and I we're in the space of self-knowing. Like that's what we do. We try to help people know themselves so that they can be unafraid about taking on the work that's going to come with improving themselves, right? And I think athletics is the perfect avenue to get people into that space because it's a little bit low risk in the sense of it's not my whole identity or my whole ego or my whole belief system. It's like just get comfortable looking at the truth about yourself and then seeing that you can improve, or sometimes you're doing really well. um and then athletics, right, they have this power of this exposure. They have this exposure, right? Like there's a reason why the ancient Greek athletes, we get sports from the classical Greeks, there's a reason why they competed naked, right? There's a reason they competed naked. It's full exposure, it's full vulnerability, it's full openness, it's full truth. It's here I am, right? It's here I am. Um, so there's a reason for that. And it's that reason. So when we are like exercising, when we are physically active, and the heart is the thing that's animating that, like the heart is the motivator, the heart is the driver. Well, now I'm actually involved in a process of self-discovery and self-knowing, which gives me such incredible opportunity and potential to transcend where I'm at right now. And I become unafraid of seeing myself, or maybe the better way to put it is I become courageous. So I move through the fear, I become courageous, I gain courage. Then I can take that courage and really apply it to other areas of my life where I may be limited, in relationships or in my own self-conception of myself.
Mhm.
Uh, right. So athletics can become this incredible, I almost like to call it a back door into self-help, because it gets the guard down. It makes you comfortable with accepting the truth about yourself. And then it makes you a believer in the process of small wins stacking. And then I can take that outside. And that's kind of the work that I do with a lot of the people, who I coach. But as this conversation is revealing, this is literally the process that I use in my own life, um, to make sure that I'm aimed correctly and that my values and my priorities are always the things that are orienting me when I have a difficult decision or a series of difficult decisions that I have to make.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of wisdom right there, honestly, with sports and enjoying some good hockey yesterday with the Wings and everything, just seeing how one person was scoring, then the other team going back and forth and teaching you that resiliency, especially even if you have to go through and with the Wings and all the other teams that we have in Detroit, it's rebuilding. They've been in rebuilding for decades and for years. So even if you only see what's on the surface, you don't see everything that's going behind the scenes, all the planning, the strategies, because you get in the top of the top players and trying to teach young players like a different level of competition, like where you're gonna fall on your face a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's sports are a very intriguing laboratory, right? I was a sport or what I would call myself a sport humanities professor. Like I was a sport historian by trade, but when I
Mhm.
was teaching, it was history, philosophy, sociology, psychology. Um, and one of the general sort of like theories about sports um, is that they are these little like controlled experiments of life. Like that's one of their utilities is
Okay.
that they create artificial conditions in which we can challenge ourselves that are close enough approximations to real life that I can't actually transfer them. And in one sense, sports almost form like a hyper reality, in the same way that like fiction or literature, a movie can be almost like more real than reality because so many people can relate to it and they can see it. And like the themes that animate your life are so vivid that they alert you to the ways in which you're not living up or the ways you are living up in your actual life. So sports are these like incredible laboratories of experimentation when it comes to like character and virtue alongside of like just the physicality of the thing. So it's like, yeah, I can learn how to be a better runner and I can improve my physical skills, but I can also learn how to become a more courageous individual because sports bring me up against fear, right? And then
Yeah.
they give me the truth of what I've done to overcome it or not overcome it. And then I can use that. And then I can use that information. Um, if I'm tuned in and if I'm intentional, is another important word. If I'm intentional about utilizing the activity this way, like maybe it happens through osmosis. I don't think so. It isn't. This isn't something that just automatically leaches out into you. Otherwise, like the best athletes would also be the best people, and that
That's
that
true.
that ain't true. That just ain't true, right?
But yeah, you hear
Um,
how many of them get in trouble and get arrested, and
so
it's a
it's like,
tough, especially well with sports. I know this is kind of deviating, but especially when there's a lot of brain injuries in sports, and so learning and taking the themes of like overcoming things and also not doing things alone. I know a lot of people have that. You got to be that lone wolf type mentality. But even a wolf howls at the moon, trying to find its pack.
yeah. That's a good one, right? Like, it's an interesting one. Like I'm reading right now about the utility of sport, effectively, or about the definition of sport. Rereading a couple books I used to teach from as a professor. I've been cycling through
Oh,
a whole
nice.
bunch of different books, and it's always just interesting to me to think about like, well, what is this thing for? What is it? Um, Philosophically, I am Aristotelian. So I think that goodness in the world effectively can be realized by conforming to the nature of the world or to the nature of things. So when I understand like what is at the heart of something, what it's meant for, what it does, what its purpose, and I merge my own heart, which is my internal motivation, my passion, my desire to go through adversity. When I merge those two together, that creates goodness in the world, and that
Mhm.
opens up an endless amount of variations that goodness can be realized because I'm interested in things that you're not interested in. You're interested in things that I'm not interested. And if goodness could only be realized by all of us doing the same things together, well, we're actually going to be missing out on quite a bit of the diversity of talent and we'll call it like the desire to achieve excellence within each individual, right? It's a bit of like that division of labor. If you think about somebody like Adam Smith, for example. Like why the market works, why capitalism works, is because people specialize in things they're interested in. They produce them well, they produce them effectively and efficiently, and then we can trade those things that we're good at for things we're not good at it, but other people are good at it, other people are interested in. So we end up, by us focusing on our self-interest, not taking away from other people, but by living out, what's kind of inside of us and what we're internally directed to be doing, we make the world a better place. So long as, if it's like athletics and I'm an athlete, well, what are athletics for? Are they just for me to dominate my opponent and get rich? Well, that's what pro sports say. So if I then am an individual and I merge myself with that nature of athletics, well, am I really producing moral goodness in the world? Probably not, because that's not really what sports are for. They've been turned into that, but that's not their source. That's not the nature. The nature of sport isn't to become commodified. It's the nature of humans to commodify anything. That's different, right? That's different, right? Even religion gets commodified. Hello, money changers in the temple. Hello, right? So it's not as if there are these activities out there that are not corruptible. Humans corrupt things. So the fact that it's but sports have always tilted toward this. I'm no, that's actually human nature to tilt everything towards that. If you just sort of understand
I mean,
the
did you ever watch the movie Concussions with Will Smith?
I haven't.
So that movie changed my whole outlook on sports, but it was hard to watch. I got to watch that movie at once and had some lunch with some people I was with, and football was on. So I'm okay, cool. And the guy got hit hard, and I was like, oh, that's a great hit. Then my second thought was, oh, crap. Because I want to say one of the characters in the movie was basically saying, basically on Sunday, you have sports, and then you have God, and they use the middle finger for God. I remember that scene correctly. But it was just kind of that whole atmosphere of how, like you said, how people can take something that was intent to bring people together, to have some fun. Because back in the day, athletes didn't make that much money. It's within the last maybe 40 years since they've been able to make, maybe 30 since the 80s or 90s. Because I know in the 2000s each year it goes up and up and up.
There's a bunch of things. The big thing that elevated in North America athlete salaries was the removal of the reserve clause, which is the whole Kirk Flood incident in Major League Baseball, which ushered in free agency. So without free agency, without the ability of the players to be agents in a marketplace, their salaries were kept artificially low by the owners who controlled them. So once the reserve clause was destroyed in Major League Baseball, I believe it was a Supreme Court decision. I think Kirk Flood had to go all the way to the Supreme Court. I could be wrong.
Oh, wow.
That's what blew open athlete salaries, because now they could become negotiators in the marketplace, which they were not before. That's I
know it's a little bit sidetracked, but
no, but it's now my historian brain is thinking, and it's how that goes back so far, and it does all relate to this. What's the source of athletics, and what are they really for? And there's a million different historical little wrinkles in that, which I don't want to fall into. But the point is even that idea of athletes shouldn't be earning a lot of money is related to this idea that athletics are for this character generation, that they are this moral activity, and the reason you do them should be this internally motivated and driven thing. This is what animated the whole amateur movement of the late 19th century. It's a good idea. It didn't work. There's a million reasons why it didn't work, and it was internally confused as well, as a lot of these things tend to be. But that's why it's so important for me as a philosopher and as a coach. I'm well, I need to know what the heck this sport thing is. I really want to know what it is. I want to know the nature of it. I really want to know what it's for at its best potential, at its supreme prime value. I'm yeah, I understand sport can be entertainment. I understand it can be an occupation. I understand it can be chauvinism in terms of my side versus your side. I get all that. I'm not saying it's not those things. I'm suggesting that the highest purpose for sport is related to me self-actualizing. That's actually what it's meant for. It's meant for me as an individual to ascend to the top of my pyramid if all of my other survive, if all my other needs are met, talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, my survival needs are met, my group needs, my group relational and ideation and identity needs are met, well, then I got self-actualization at the top. And sports can allow me to get there. Like, that's the idea. Sports may be the best calibrating tool to help me self-actualize because they provide me the objective data, which we talked about, but also I get my subjective meaning, which is my heart, and I get to merge that. So that's why it's so important for me to know about the nature of sport so that I can tie my heart and the people who I'm coaching, I can tie their hearts to the essence of the thing. And then it doesn't almost matter what we do at that point. It's like if those two things are in place, the moral goodness just comes through the action. It emerges through the actions. Like, you don't need to know what's going on. You need to know that these two things are primary. And if these two things are present, then the rest almost takes care of itself, so long as I stay consistent and I stay disciplined and I do the darn work, which, that's what the training is all about. Like, that's what the showing up in the gym is all about. So for me, that's why it's so important to kind of know the nature of something, is because without that knowledge, I'm not able to realize the goodness or the ultimate goodness that whatever that thing is can provide to the individuals.
Yeah. And that's why who's ever watching this video, go check out Dr. Jordan. If you want to get your sports on, if you want to dive deeper beyond the entertainment, the life lessons, the historical value, then go check out his channel. It'll be in the description below. And Jordan, as we wrap up today, man, what do you want to leave with the audience today?
Dude, like, that's not fair.
That's not fair.
You see all the books? I was a professor. You don't give a professor like, hey, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to say? It's because I'll, whatever you give me, I'll take 10% more, so that I can talk. No, but I appreciate you. I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you allowing me to share some of my thoughts. I guess what I would love to leave your audience with is, like, how do you make this real? How do you actualize it for yourself, right? Because theory is cool and ideas and abstract thoughts. Like, I'm big, like I am at home in the world of the abstract. That's why I became a professor and I have a PhD. Like, but most people aren't, and they don't want to be in the abstract world. They want their feet on the ground. So it's like, how do you, listening to this, put into practice some of the things that I've been talking about? All right. And this is especially aimed at somebody who's, like, we'll say inconsistent with their fitness, but desires consistency. So it's like a lot of the people who I help, they're people who understand the importance of doing it. They just can't seem to figure out how to do it. It's not like I have to convince people, oh, you got to exercise. It's like, no, I know, I just can't. How? And I think what happens is, like, you end up meeting somebody like a fitness trainer who is thinking about the mind. They're like, oh, well, you do these exercises. Here's how you do them. Here's the progression in which you do them. Here's how you work up. And it's like, well, that's good. But, that person actually, they don't need help in the mind. They need help in the heart. They need willpower. They need to figure out how to keep going when they want to quit. That's the problem. The problem is they quit when they don't want to quit. And they keep quitting when they don't want to quit. So it's not a mind problem, it's a heart problem. So how do you solve a heart problem? Okay, you activate the heart. So the big piece of advice is, and this is true for the person who's inconsistent, this is true for the person who shows up every single day in the gym. You gotta love it. So move in a way you love. Number one rule. This is the dirty secret in fitness. Every single person who's consistent in fitness loves what they're doing. They love it. Or they're getting paid an absurd amount of money so that they can forget about the fact they don't love it. It's one of those two. I promise you, right? Like, the people who love weight, like the people who are in the gym with lifting weights, they love lifting weights, right? The people who are out riding their bike all the time, they love riding their bike. So whatever that looks like for you, don't allow other people to say, why are you doing that? Just be like, I really like this. I love hiking. Okay. Figure out a way to hike more. Like, I love swimming. I love rowing. Like, I love I love dancing. I love gardening. Like, I don't care what it is. It's movement and love. Figure out for yourself what that looks like, and that's your foundation. That's your foundation. Because, I was this person. I was this person who wanted to exercise, but couldn't figure out how to be consistent at it. I probably stopped and started like a dozen times on, I'll try home workouts. Like, I'll try going to the gym. I'll do this. I'll do that. And it's after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm not doing it anymore. Right. And it's like, well, okay. But if that's you, just keep experimenting, keep trying, get creative, use your imagination, use some curiosity. These are signals of the heart and of the spirit, of passion, of internal desire, right? Like, that's where all of this starts, right? So if you just endeavor to use love as the foundation of your fitness, right? It's going to provide you the wide and the deep base to keep you going when inevitably adversity hits and you don't want to do it. Dude, like, I love trail running. Trail running is the thing that hooked me on consistent exercise. Do you know how many times I'm watching myself sit in the car at the trailhead, scroll my phone for an extra 5 minutes? Because it's like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to do it. It's harder to go out and do it than it is to not do it, even if you love it. So in those moments, you've got to be able to get somewhere that isn't just like punishing discipline. That's not an authoritarian tyrant. That's like, if you don't do this, you're weak. If you don't do this, you're a bitch, or like whatever negative self-talk you want to put into yourself. That might work a few times, but if that's the only message you're giving yourself to move through adversity, like, you're going to quit, man. You're so going to quit. So it's got to be something deeper where you're like, I love this. I might not be feeling this right now, but man, I know that once I get out there, I'll be enjoying it. And I always feel better when I'm done. And I always feel better about starting. So I just have to like remind myself that this is something that I love. And that generally is enough, because like, I don't have an integrity if I'm like, hey, Zach, man, I'm the trail runner. I love trail running. But guess what? Like, I skipped 3 of the 4 trail runs that are on my plan because I'm lazy. Who's going to believe me about anything? And then I'm going to look at myself and be like, dude, you're just a fraud and a liar. And if I demand to live by the truth, well, then guess what's going to happen? I'm going to act in the way that's going to move me towards that. And love is going to power me, because ultimately I'm not doing anything that's going against myself, which is what people feel like they're fighting against themselves. So I'm trying not to be so long-winded, but like, that is the thing I would leave everybody with, is like, just like put love in the center of your fitness, and like, you will find some incredible results, both in performance, but also in consistency. And maybe most importantly, in this like animating of my spirit, and providing me a sense of like moral righteousness that is earned, that I can then take to be strong in other areas.
You're the best from Jordan. I mean, he just gave you a whole speech, a whole another podcast in about 2 minutes.
Do my
So
best,
with
sir.
that, we're going to do a call of action. We're going to do a call of action to start looking at your heart. So in this time, take some time after this video to write down, to reflect, to meditate, and to really begin to discover what's in your heart. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? So now for us, how you doing it? You're doing it for yourself, so you can be the best. And again, if you need Jordan's help, his coaching services are available. We have the Men's Lifeline Academy Discord group that I run on Mondays, 7:30 p.m. EST. And hit that subscribe button, share this video, comment that you're willing to change your heart. So put in the comments below, I am willing, so that way we know for a fact that you're going to take a step into the right direction. So you can live the best life. And remember, pick up a book, read, scholar, listen to something, continue to grow. Jordan, my friend, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. Win team.